I have been waiting for this moment, and it's finally here. What is going on, y'all? It is dope to see you guys, man, and I hope you all are doing good and doing the best that you possibly can, man, for real. Now, to get into this, before we dive into it, man, I want to say to anybody who clicks on this, I appreciate it already. If you're wondering, now, I wanted to do this a while ago, man, and I kind of feel like I should have, because I thought of it to react to these scary stories, and then I missed the bus, man. Everybody started reacting to them, so I wanted to be able to do it on a video that I think that nobody else is gonna have yet, and it just so happened that today it freaking happened, man. I literally just finished the pot of paper, King's Blood, and I got the notification right there. I don't even know if you can see it. It's not gonna adjust itself, but that was it, man. Mr. Nightmare, out of all the people that have scary stories, I don't know where this dude gets them from, but he got the best ones, man. Like, literal, they scare the crap out of me. I do not do good with these things, especially when it's the home invasion videos, man. I do not fare well with these. And then it's on Halloween. Ah, heck no, man. This is going to be some craziness. So, a big shout out to you guys, man. Like I said, big shout out to anybody who clicks on this. I know it's not hip-hop. It's completely different. But I wanted to see what it was like, and I want to know if any of you guys follow this dude's stories, man. So, no further ado again. Shout out to you guys. Let's go. October 17th, baby. Man, here we go. Already.
Halloween used to be one of my favorite holidays. Now I kinda just enjoy it when I have a decent party to go to. In 2018, when I was a senior in college, my friend Tracy's sorority was going to be throwing a big Halloween party at the sorority house. She said I could bring one friend since they didn't want too many outsiders at the party, so I invited my best friend Cody. We're very last minute people when it comes to Halloween costumes. The party was that night and we didn't have anything. Cody was working late, so he'd have to meet me right before the party. So he asked me to get a costume for him, and he'd just Venmo me the money. I ran to the nearby Spirit Halloween store that opened up like 5 minutes from my house. I was just shotgunning it. I picked a Where's Waldo costume for myself, and a Superman costume for Cody. Both two of the cheaper costumes they had. Everything was normal, till I got to the cashier. I was on the phone with Cody, telling him about the costume I got him, and giving him details about the party. I told him which sorority it was, that Tracy got us the invite, gave him the address, and then he convinced me to pick him up instead of us just meeting, stuff like that. All of this was said as the cashier was watching me. He was some guy who was decently older than me, but because of his receding hairline, I couldn't put a gauge on it as to whether he was in his 30s or low 40s. He wore glasses though, and had a skinny-ish build and an awkward presence.
Man, she just gave all away that information in front of this guy. Oh, hell no.
As he rang up the two costumes, he had a comment something along the lines of, "Sounds like you have a fun party tonight, huh?"
Uh-huh.
I chuckled and said yeah. Then he started asking more details, like if it's open invite, and had a comment about there being lots of girls. I said it's closed invite and that I barely got an invite. He said it's all good. Then he shook my hand and introduced himself as Mike, so I did the same and told him my name was Sean.
This dude
and I left.
Crazy.
It was weird. Fast forward to later that night. I picked up Cody and we arrived to the party around 10 p.m. It sounded loud inside, and there were multiple groups of people entering the house before us. At the door, a girl asked us who we knew there, and I told her Tracy. She let us in, and we were in this huge living room area. Music blasting, all the lights dimmed low, Halloween decorations everywhere, and to top it off, people with red cups full of booze crowding the place. We saw Tracy and hung around her for a while. We played beer pong and other drinking games. It was a very legit party. But then, at some point, there was a commotion by the front door area. Cody, Tracy, and I and a few others walked over, and the girl at the door started calling out, "Where's Tracy?" She came forward, and the girl asked, "Who is Sean?" I said, "I am." Then she asked me who that creepy guy we invited was. I was confused and said, "Who?" She described some older-looking man in a cowboy costume with a fake mustache. He apparently inappropriately touched one of the girls, trying to get her into a separate room, and she screamed for help. Then he took off with something in his pocket. None of the guys chased after him or anything. Immediately, I thought of the cashier from Spirit Halloween. I told them about it, and everyone got even more creeped out. The party went on, but they were a lot more cautious about who they were letting in, and they even considered calling the cops for a second. That whole thing really killed my vibe, and we didn't stay much longer after that.
I would say
In total,
so.
we were probably at the party for a couple hours at most. We left a little past midnight, I think. I didn't drink much. As I started my car, the car parked like 2 cars behind us also turned on, and as I drove in the direction of Cody's house, the car started to follow. Cody and I were sure it had to be him after it made 4 of the same turns, so I pulled to the side of the road, egging him on to pull over, but the car just stopped for a few seconds, then basically floored it past us. We didn't get a good look at who was inside, but I'm still positive it was him. After dropping off Cody down the block from his house, just being cautious, I was staying very aware of my surroundings, and because of that, I noticed a car in the near distance with its lights off, tailing me. It looked like the same car. I got to a main road, once again pulled over and waited. The car once again waited, and then a few seconds later turned on its lights and floored it in the far left lane, passing me. I was obviously shook, and drove home as fast as I could while I was sure I wasn't being followed. I called that Spirit Halloween location the next day and reported the cashier. They thanked me for the information, but I never went back there, so I wouldn't know if he was fired or anything. Looking back, I wonder if I could have and should have pressed charges. Regardless, I have no idea what he could have possibly wanted from me. But either way, I'm happy he didn't find out where I live.
Damn right. Whew.
So I just ordered these 4 pizzas here, and it was supposed to cost me over $100, but it ended up costing me...
That's great. Alright, that story wasn't too bad. That was alright. That's dealable. They get worse as they go along, I find. Let's go.
Halloween of 2019 was the most terrifying night of my life. I live in Australia, and because we don't celebrate Halloween as enthusiastically, we don't get as many trick-or-treaters, around 5 or 6 people at most. I am personally a huge fan of Halloween though, to the dismay of my parents who would prefer not to acknowledge it. Obviously that leaves me in charge of putting up decorations and handing out candy. This particular year, Halloween fell on a school night and a storm began just after 6 o'clock, which unfortunately meant my efforts preparing the decorations had pretty much gone to waste. Ignoring my better judgment, I still waited for trick-or-treaters in the living room and watched The Conjuring to pass the time. Around an hour and a half later, I got a message from my friend M on our group chat, asking if anyone would like to mess around and go trick-or-treating. At first I was confused. We hadn't gone trick-or-treating in over 5 years, but I decided it would make the night more enjoyable as nobody was knocking on the door anyway. My other friends, who I'll call S, C, and H, all agreed and asked M where we should meet up. M quickly replied he couldn't make it, which was strange because he was the one who offered to go trick-or-treating.
I was gonna say, he's the one
He
that
suggested a
initiated.
house which has lots of candy. Me, S, C, and H all arrived at the house within half an hour.
What?
A large table with a pumpkin bowl filled with lollipops stood at the front porch, and after checking the windows to make sure we weren't being watched, we emptied the bowl between us, only leaving a few to avoid suspicion. As we turned around to leave, we were greeted by 2 men dressed as clowns approaching us up the driveway. They had huge painted smiles and tilted heads. I could tell we were all creeped out, and one of my friends screamed as they started bolting towards us, one
yeah.
squeaking its rubber nose as they chased. After running for what felt like an eternity, we finally lost them. We decided to
How do y'all deal with clowns? I don't think so.
running for what felt like an
Hell no.
eternity. We finally lost them. We decided to go to M's house so we could discuss what just happened in a safe area. However, when M answered the door, he burst into laughter. "What the hell are you guys doing?" he said, confused. "You told us to go trick-or-treating. Can you just let us inside?" S replied. After sitting down on M's couch, we all soon realized M had lost his phone earlier that day, and a stranger had suggested the idea of going to that house.
What?
Presumably some sort of trap from the clowns. After another half hour, I cautiously made it home by 9:30, finished my movie, and went outside to collect the candy bowl I set up. I was shocked to see the bowl was completely empty. However, my stomach turned when I saw a clown nose was now laying inside of it. I told my parents everything that happened, and and showed them the clown nose that had been left at our house. They assured me it was just some Halloween prank.
Nope.
I woke up around 1 a.m.
God.
to noises coming from my bedroom window, like rocks hitting the glass.
What?
Although I was scared half to death, my curiosity got the better of me. I eventually opened the blinds. My Halloween decorations were destroyed and littered the ground below. I stared motionless in complete shock until a lollipop was thrown at the window, breaking my trance. I looked up and saw them, the two clowns perched upon the neighbor's roof, looking down at me.
Oh my God!
I screamed and ran away towards my parents' room.
They're on the neighbor's
I'll
roof.
skip the details that followed, but the police were called and the clowns were not found. The officers informed us they would check out the house my friends and I trick-or-treated at, and they left in about half an hour. The following morning, we were told the house was abandoned, and M's phone was discovered inside.
Oh.
That day at school, I learned M, S, C, and H all had creepy experiences during the night as well. I'm not sure if the clowns followed us home or they somehow tracked us through M's phone. All I know is that Halloween is only a few weeks away, and I am completely terrified they'll return.
No, I'm out, man. No, you on the roof? Man, no. That scared the hell out of me, man.
It was a stormy Halloween night. I was with my three friends John, Mary, and Keenan. Since we didn't have any real plans and were kind of just hanging around, I decided to grab the Ouija board from my closet. All my friends were down to
Oh, hell no. Hell, what is with you people, man? Why are you grabbing a Ouija board?
hanging around. I decided to grab the Ouija board from my closet.
No.
All my friends were down to try it.
Of course they are. What kind of friends you got? What the hell's the matter with your friends? Ain't none of them? No.
I decided to grab the Ouija board from my closet. All my friends were down to try it. I wanted to be funny, but also set the mood, so I got 3 candles, lit them, and turned off all the lights. The 4 of us sat at the table with our hands on the planchette. We started off by saying, "Is anyone there?" Of course, the planchette started to move, and we all started to laugh. It went from Y to E to S, spelling yes. John and I began asking the really stupid, goofy questions, like, "Will you haunt Mary?" And she kept begging us to stop. But as the planchette moved to once again spell out the word yes, we all erupted into laughter.
Nope.
To be honest, I didn't even contribute to moving the piece around the board. I just assumed John and Keenan were messing around for the most part.
Everybody always assumes that the other person's doing it.
Then, without anyone asking a question, the planchette started moving to spell the words, "I'm inside the house." More laughs,
I'll be
until there was a
outside the damn
huge,
house.
very obvious thump sound from directly upstairs, like right over our heads. It most closely resembled a boot stomping on the floor. All of us jumped. Mary started screaming and freaking out.
No.
John, Keenan, and I didn't know whether to laugh or be freaked out. My parents weren't home. No one was except for me. We don't have any pets. Suddenly, the doorbell rang.
Of course it did.
We looked at each other.
I am uncomfortable with this reaction. I do not like Waluigi boards. Goddamn.
And I went to look through the peephole. I opened the door. It was a dad and his young son trick-or-treating under an umbrella.
Fuck them
I
both.
opened the door and handed the kids some candies. But once I shut the door, it was back to the current reality of the situation, which was figuring out what the hell that sound was. I convinced all 3 of them to come upstairs with me just to check. We all got to the upstairs hallway. All that was on was a nightlight plugged into the floor outlet. We were halfway through the hallway, approaching my parents' bedroom, which was the room directly above the table we were sitting at, where we heard the noise. That's when we all heard the same thing. It was this voice of a girl. What was said, none of us could hear it, but all 4 of us agreed we heard the voice of a girl in my parents' room,
I'm about ready to
followed by the
throw up
sound
here.
of something being dropped on the floor. Mary and Keenan ran down the stairs, freaked out, but not making a peep. John and I, however, approached the door. I opened it quietly and pushed it open slowly. I looked into the dark room, and I saw something tall standing in the far corner of the room.
Oh, God.
I slammed the door shut and we ran down the stairs. We stayed in the living room and flicked on the lights, and then noticed one of the candles by the Ouija board was blown out. I called the cops, and a few minutes later, when an officer arrived, I asked him to check my parents' bedroom. I led him up the stairs and pointed at the door. He knocked on it and announced police, then opened the door quickly and flicked on the light. He checked the closet, under the bed, nothing. That's when we followed and entered the room as well, and I can confirm no one was in there. While we were at it, we checked every single bedroom and bathroom up there. There was not a single possible place anybody could be hiding. After the police officer left, we threw the Ouija board in the neighbor's garbage, and we all sat under the awning in my backyard listening to the storm in silence until my parents returned. After telling the story to my parents together, eventually my friends left. My parents seemed to believe us, but what could they really do? I didn't sleep too well that night, and obviously I have no plans of using a Ouija board ever again.
Oh, man, hell no. God damn, man. Oh my god, that last story almost made me sick. I do not deal well with freaking Ouija boards, dude. Hell no. Even the mention of a freaking Ouija board, I am out the door. That's where I say my blackness comes in, because we don't play with that shit. Hell no. People out here pulling out Ouija boards, for what reason? Who you want to talk to? Nobody. Leave them. Now I'm sitting here acting like somebody pulled one out on me. I'd rather have you pull out a pistol and rob me right to my face than any one of my friends suggest we pull out a Ouija board. Are you insane? Oh, hell no. I don't mess with any of that, dude. Ever since I was a kid, and I swear to God, y'all might think I'm crazy for this. When I was a kid, man, we lived in this house. At the time we bought the house, it was 100 and some years old. I swear to God, I used to hear silverware moving around in the damn house and doors opening and closing. It wasn't the frickin' wind. Oh, man. Even now to this day, man, I'm 31 years old. I don't like going in that house. My stepmother still owns it. Do you think I go in there a lot? No, it creeps me the hell out, man. It's old. At this point, it's 130 years old, for God's sake. Nah, anything to do with paranormal activity, I am out the gate. Hell no. I'm not even sitting down meeting anybody. I'm gone, man. Hell, this is why I don't listen to scary stories with a recording on my face. Because it's embarrassing. But anyway, that was freaking Mr. Nightmare. You're always killer, dude. Shout out to anybody who watched this. Like I said, I know it's a little bit different from what we normally do, but I hope y'all enjoyed it, man. I freaking love you guys from the bottom of my heart straight to yours. I hope you're doing good. If anybody needs anything, feel free to hit me up, baby. I love y'all. Peace out.